American politics appears more divided than ever, yet most Americans from both the left and the right do agree on one thing: American democracy is broken. Trust in government is at an all-time low. Only 17% of Americans now have confidence in their government, a lower level of trust than what exists in most other free democracies. Though the last 4 years have made it painfully obvious how broken things have truly become, this decline of citizens' confidence in their government has been going on for decades. The ship did not just spring a leak yesterday, it has been slowly sinking for quite some time. Yet the ship is not beyond repair. Even now, 86% of Americans believe that the crisis in confidence can be reversed. What has been damaged can be repaired and built back stronger than before. The priority of any American government now should be to fix the very institution it helped pioneer: representative democracy, rule for the people, by the people. In the next few weeks, I will be presenting a series of videos that details how the world's most powerful economy and free democracy can turn things around and fix its democracy. Many proposals have been advanced to fix American democracy. They range from voting with ranked choice ballots to abolishing the Electoral College, and each of these proposed solutions has its merits. However, to act effectively, we will need to prioritize. Remember, our patient is in critical condition and first needs to be resuscitated. Optimizing the patient's health can come later. We will therefore focus on policies that will restore American democracy, not ones that will make it a perfect one. In setting priorities, we must be clear on what the purpose of government is. This is stated clearly in the Declaration of Independence. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, in order to secure the rights of the people. The purpose of government is to serve the people. So how does a representative democracy do this? First, to actually serve the people, it needs to represent the will of the people. A composition of representatives that does not reflect the will of the people will not be able to serve the people well. Secondly, it needs to serve all people, not just a small wealthy elite, not certain powerful interests, and certainly not itself. Finally, it has to actually serve, in other words, function. It needs to be able to pass laws that people want. If it cannot do this, it is useless. This leads into the first reform this series will cover: unblocking the Senate. To repair American democracy, the laws that are meant to fix it need to pass. Our paramedic needs to be able to administer first aid. The problem is, for the most part, this isn't happening now. Why isn't this happening? For a law to become law, it needs to pass both the House of Representatives and the Senate by a majority vote, as well as avoid a presidential veto. The problem is, a lot of legislation that passes the House is not being passed in the Senate. And it's not because one party controls one chamber and another controls the other chamber. During the first 2 years of the Obama presidency, Democrats controlled both chambers and the presidency, yet over 500 bills that passed the House failed to pass in the Senate. A lot of legislation that Americans want dies in the Senate. There are two reasons cited as to why so much proposed legislation dies in the Senate. The first, which I believe is a bit of a red herring, is that the Senate Majority Leader, if they belong to a different party, can simply stop any debate or vote on legislation they don't like as they control the Senate's agenda. This is currently why a lot of legislation that passes the House fails to make it anywhere in the Senate. However, the reason I believe this is a bit of a red herring is because there is nothing in the Constitution or the rules of the Senate that ordains this power onto the Senate Majority Leader. The powers of the Senate Majority Leader arose out of convention and expedience. There is nothing stopping a bold enough senator from putting a bill, such as legislation that would fix American democracy, on the desks of Senate leaders and have it be debated. So why hasn't this happened? This is because of reason number 2, the filibuster. The filibuster in essence allows 40% of senators to block legislation from being passed. Unlike the power of the majority leader, it is very much ingrained in the Senate's rules. It arose by accident in 1806 when then Vice President Aaron Burr thought that Senate debate should have no restrictions. What this meant is that senators who didn't like a bill could endlessly debate it, preventing a vote on the bill from ever taking place. Now, debate can be limited, but it requires a supermajority of 60% to end a filibuster. It used to be that a senator had to be continuously speaking in order to filibuster. However, since the 1970s, this is no longer the case. All a senator has to do now is indicate they will filibuster. With American politics becoming more partisan and more politicians adopting a win-at-all-cost mentality instead of doing what's right for the country, the filibuster has been used more and more to stop legislation that the majority supports from getting passed. Now, you might believe that the filibuster still has merit, as there is probably legislation that you were against that was stopped because of a filibuster. However, at the same time, you will find legislation that you supported that never got passed because of a filibuster. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense for a minority to hold such power unless it concerns something fundamental and structural that you don't want to be constantly changing, like the Constitution, or when it comes to deciding to investigate corruption committed by the majority. There is a simple solution for stopping legislation you disagree with: overturn it when your party regains power. The good news is that the filibuster can be abolished by a simple majority vote using what is called the nuclear option. This has been used to eliminate the use of the filibuster concerning presidential appointments and Supreme Court nominees. However, it doesn't look like there will be a majority of senators wanting to get rid of the filibuster entirely anytime soon. Only a handful of current senators, such as Senator Warren, have declared they would support ending the filibuster. The reason for this is simple. The filibuster gives you, as an individual senator, more power. If you are in the minority, it increases your voting power by 25%. It also empowers virtue signaling, instead of forcing senators to make a difficult or unpopular decision. Say there is a bill that you don't support that your constituents do. As a senator, you can just signal that you support a measure by voting for it, safely knowing that it doesn't have enough votes to pass. You maintain your popularity and scapegoat the opposition, while at the same time the bill you never supported doesn't pass. There's also culture. The Senate likes to view itself as the more deliberative body and is less willing to adopt sweeping changes. However, it is the view of this channel that sweeping change is needed to restore American democracy. With the filibuster still in place, it is entirely conceivable that a party that wants to pass legislation that would address the many problems that currently exist with American democracy would be unable to do so, even if they had majorities in both chambers and the presidency. This exercise in futility, in essence, would be tragic. For any real change to happen in the Senate, it's going to come down to the people where all political change begins: the American people. American citizens who want their democratic institutions to truly serve them need to pressure their senators to finally end the filibuster and arrest the decline that has been taking place for the past few decades. Only by doing this can American democracy begin to heal itself once again. Thank you for watching. Do you think getting rid of the filibuster is a good idea or a priority? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please consider liking or subscribing or supporting me on Patreon. If you want to pressure US senators and end the filibuster, I would recommend joining or supporting Indivisible. This group is advocating for many reforms that will fix American democracy, including ending the filibuster. In the next episode, I will be covering something that serves certain politicians and prevents American democracy from representing all people: voter suppression.